Hello everyone. Welcome again to On Silver Screen, where learning is interesting. This is your host, Silver De La Rosa, and today we are at episode 4 of our procurement and tendering season. In this episode, we are going to discuss about construction management and management contracting procurement truths. Please support this channel by dropping a like to the video, sharing the video to your friends, especially those who are preparing for their APC. And please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified every time I upload a new video. The objectives of this discussion are to understand the construction management procurement truth. We would like to know what is its characteristics and the responsibilities of the client under this procurement truth. We will also tackle the functions of construction manager, and should this procurement truth be chosen by the client, what are expected from a quantity surveyor. Also, we will discuss about the organizational structure of construction management procurement truth. Similarly, we will also look at the same information for management contracting procurement truth. Let us begin our discussion with construction management procurement truth. It is a procurement truth where a construction manager is engaged by the client under a fee contract to manage, program, and coordinate the design and construction activities and to facilitate collaboration. Now, what are the sequence of activities under the construction management procurement truth? First, the client will hire its design team. And once the design team is on board and preliminary design or concept design is ready, the QS will now be able to provide a rough order of estimate. If you wanted to know more about rough order of estimate, you can visit my previous video in Season 1, Episode 1 about quantification and costing, where I discussed the basic essentials needed to quantify and cost the works. Also, on the episode 2 of the same season, I talk about the cost estimating techniques, so you can visit those videos to know more about the rough order of estimate. Going back to our topic, once the preliminary design and initial project cost is at hand, a tender for construction manager can now be carried out. Construction managers are fee-earning professionals. Therefore, it is important that at least a preliminary estimate or rough order of magnitude estimate is established in order to determine their fees. The construction manager, once on board, will usually take over the preliminary scheduling and costing information already prepared and draw up a detailed program of pre-construction activities. The construction manager will establish the key dates when clients' decisions are required. This is to ensure that timely decisions are made and in order to avoid the consequential delay. As the design progresses, the tender for work packages or trade works will be carried out. The trade contractors will have a direct contract with the client. And once they are on board, construction can now commence. The trade contractors may also collaborate with the design team and offer their trade expertise during the design process. Because of the overlapping of activities, the time spent to complete the project will be relatively shorter. Now, let's take a look at the emphasis of construction management procurement truth. Because the time spent to complete the project will be relatively shorter, and the client is closely involved in the design and construction process, the intended quality of the project as a whole will be closely monitored and most likely be achieved. However, price certainty is not achieved until the design and construction have advanced to the extent that all of the construction or trade packages have been awarded. For this reason, construction management is a procurement truth that gives more emphasis to time and quality compared to money. Let us now take a look at the characteristics of construction management procurement truth. The first is that construction management truth is not usually suitable for inexpert or inexperienced client. Why? It is because that due to close involvement of the client from the design phase of the project all the way to the construction stages, the client must have a sufficient knowledge when it comes to design as well as construction. Next is that the design team is engaged by the client, and the construction manager is engaged by the client to supervise the construction process and coordinates the input of trade contractors and the output of the design team. So the construction manager acts as a point of contact between the trade contractors and the design team so that both these parties can collaborate with the design process. the client does not allocate the risk and responsibility to a single main contractor, the trade contractors will have a contract direct with the client. So there is no main contractor that is responsible for the entire process or responsible for all the risk that is involved. So the risk is distributed by the client to the trade contractors depending on their contract with the client. The client will generally be closely involved in each stage of the design and construction. And construction management is also known as the fast-track route because the design, tendering, and construction can overlap at certain stage. It is well suited for a procurement route for projects with high degree of design innovation because there will be always changes in the design. So once there is a high degree of design innovation, it is suited to take construction management procurement route. Also, if the client wants to have a hands-on involvement or design flexibility is needed throughout the project process. So these are the characteristics of construction management procurement route. Let us now discuss the responsibilities of the client under the construction management procurement route. Due to close involvement of the client on each stage of design and construction, it is relatively important that the client should have sufficient knowledge and experience of construction project, possesses the necessary administrative capabilities, and should have a project management staff with the time and ability to assess the recommendations of construction manager and take necessary action. This is important because every now and then, decisions are needed from the client. So he must have a staff that can make these decisions in a timely manner. Otherwise, any delay in the decision to be made by the client will have an adverse impact to the project. Also, the client must maintain a strong presence through a staff who are technically and commercially astute. It's not only that the staff is technically well-versed, but also commercially astute. It is because that each decision that is being made for the project will have a commercial impact. So the client representative must know how to balance the technical side and commercial aspect of the project. The client must have adequate risk management capability as he still bears much of the construction risk. Remember in our earlier discussion that the client does not allocate the risk to a single main contractor. Instead, the risks are being distributed to different trade contractors with direct contractual link to the client. And of course, depending also on their contractual agreement with the client. The client bears the risk of any consequential effect of non-performance of one of trade contractor to the other. This is the reason why it is important for the client to have an adequate risk management capability. So these are the responsibilities of the client in construction management procurement route. Let us now take a look at the functions or the responsibilities of a construction manager. The construction manager will draw up a detailed program of pre-construction activities from preliminary scheduling and costing information available. He will also establish the key dates when the client's decisions are required and supervises the construction process. The construction manager also coordinates the input of trade contractors and the output of the design team. So he will act as a point of contact between the design team and the trade contractors. Next is that he provides professional construction expertise without assuming financial risk. Why? It is because that the trade contractors have direct contractual link to the client. So it is the client who is responsible financially to the trade contractors and not the construction manager. Let us now take a look at what is required from a quantity surveyor should the client chooses the construction management procurement route. As the design evolves throughout the construction stage, the quantity surveyor should be well experienced and equipped with the necessary skills to prepare a reliable approximate estimate and cost plan. Even at the early stage of the project, the approximate estimates prepared by the QS will be used as a basis for construction manager's fee, and the initial cost plan that the QS prepared will be used by the construction manager for preparing the detailed program of pre-construction activities. It is therefore important that these data are reliable. Next is to prepare a tender document and execute the tender process in a fast-paced environment. When the design for work package is complete, the QS should be quick to prepare the tender documents and execute the tender process. Any delay in the award of work package to a trade contractor will have an adverse impact to the ongoing project. Another requirement from the quantity surveyor is to accurately identify the consequential effect of developed design to previously awarded trades or work package and analyze the cost impact. Again, as a design is developing gradually, the QS should have a keen eye for detail in order for the consequential effect, especially to the awarded trades, to be identified. If these changes will not be properly identified and managed, it will expose the client to a greater risk. So that is why it is important for the quantity surveyor to be well experienced and equipped with the necessary skills. Let us now discuss about the advantages of construction management procurement route. First, there is a relative time-saving potential for the overall project duration. This is due to the overlapping of design and construction procedures. The next advantage is that expertise of trade contractors and construction manager can be utilized in design and project planning. Roles, risks, and relationships of all participants are clear. Changes in the design can easily be accommodated, provided that the relevant trade package have not been awarded yet, and the earlier awarded work package are not too adversely affected. And trade contractors have high level of commercial confidence due to their direct contract with the client. There is some evidence that this results in lower prices because of improved cash flow certainty. So these are the advantages of construction management procurement route. Let us now take a look at the disadvantages of construction management procurement route. First, the price or time certainty is not achieved until the last trade package have been awarded. Budgeting for this route will heavily depend on the design team estimates, and the duration will depend upon the sequence needed to construct the building as designed. Next is an informed proactive client is required to operate such strategy. This will be a burden to a client because this route requires constant engagement with the client from design all the way to construction phase. The client must provide a good quality brief to the design team. Otherwise, the design team will have a hard time in producing the design that will satisfy the client's requirement and could eventually lead to delay. The design will not be completed until the client has committed significant resources to the project. The success of construction management procurement route relies upon the client selecting a skillful and committed team. Close control over time and information is required. The route relies on a proficient and committed construction manager. Otherwise, the construction manager will just become a post-back system in certain circumstances. And there is a need to have a constant control over the design team to be on track with the program. This is to ensure that the work package procurement nor the works on site will not be delayed. So these are the disadvantages of construction management procurement route. Let us now take a look at its organizational structure. The client will hire the architect, structural engineer, and other members of the design team. And once a preliminary design is complete, the quantity surveyor can now prepare the preliminary cost estimate and preliminary cost plan based on the design completed by this design team. And once these data are ready, the client will now procure the services of construction manager. And when the construction manager is on board, the construction manager will now prepare the schedule. When will the trade contractors be procured by the client? And the construction manager will have a limited agency powers over the trade contractors. So this is the organizational structure of construction management route. Now that we have discussed about construction management procurement route, let us now go to management contracting procurement route. It is a procurement route where a management contractor is engaged with the client under a fee contract to manage the whole of the building process. The management contractor is responsible for employing the firms to carry out construction works, These firms are referred to as works contractors. The works contractor will not have a contractual link with the client. So now there is a difference between these two procurement routes. Management contracting, the works contractor will not have a contractual link with the client. But with the construction management procurement route, the works contractor are being hired directly by the client, or there is a direct contractual link with the trade contractor and the client. Let us now take a look at the sequence of activities under the management contracting procurement route. Once the design team is on board and the preliminary design is ready, the quantity surveyor will be able to prepare an estimated construction cost as well as initial cost plan. With this data, the tender for management contractor can be carried out, and once the management contractor is on board, the tender for the work package with a completed design can also be executed. After the works contractor are on board, the construction on site may commence. At the same time, the design will be gradually developed and the expertise of management contractor and works contractor can be utilized in the design development as well as project planning. Due to the overlapping of design, tendering, and construction activities, the time to complete the project will be relatively shorter. Now, with regards to the emphasis of this route when it comes to the competing factors which are time, cost, and quality, as the time to complete the works are relatively shorter compared to other procurement routes, and the time given for the design to develop is longer, which could result to achieving the intended quality. The management contracting procurement route gives more attention to time and quality rather than cost. Let us now discuss the characteristics of management contracting procurement route. The design team is engaged with the client on this procurement route. The management contractor is engaged with the client to manage the whole of the building process, including the procurement of works contractor. The management contractor will be paid by a fee, usually based on the cost of works established by the quantity surveyor. And the cost of construction works will be reimbursed by the client to the management contractor. So it will be like a cost reimbursable plus fee contract to the management contractor. There is no direct contractual link between the client and the works contractor. This is because the works contractor are being hired directly by the management contractor. And the management contractor or management contracting is also known as a fast-track route. This is because of the overlapping of the design, tendering, and construction activities. The design work will not be entirely complete before the works contractor may start work, although the design necessary for those work package must be finished. Subsequent work package are tendered and let as the design progresses, and cost certainty is thus not achieved until all work contractors have been appointed. So these are the characteristics of management contracting procurement route. Let us now take a look at the responsibilities of the client under this procurement route. With management contracting procurement route, it is advisable for the client to have a sufficient control over the design team in order to avoid the risk of delay due to late issuance of design information. The client must also have a high level of cost management skills because it is like a cost reimbursable contract. He must make sure that whatever he reimburses the client is the actual expenditure or the actual cost being paid by the management contractor to the works contractor. Adequate risk management capability. And the client must also provide a good quality of brief to the design team. Because if the brief provided by the client is poor, then there will be several revisions or the design team will have a hard time in satisfying the requirement of the client. And this could eventually lead to delay. And the client must have the ability to commit significant resources to the project. Let us now take a look at the functions or the roles of the management contractor. The management contractor will manage the whole of the building process. He will identify the preferred bidders for sections of the project and selects them by competitive tender. This is, of course, with the approval of the design team as well as the client. He will engage firms to carry out construction works for work packages, or these construction firms will be known as the work package contractor or works contractor. He will also coordinate with the design team and ensure the timely release of design information to the works contractors. Now, let's take a look at what is required from a quantity surveyor should the client chooses a management contracting procurement route. As the design evolves throughout the construction stage, the quantity surveyor should be well experienced and equipped with necessary skills to assist the client in drafting a good quality brief to the design team. This is to ensure a smooth flow of design or smooth development of design and avoid delay. Prepare a reliable approximate estimates and cost plan. Accurately identify the consequential effect of developed design to previously awarded trades or work package and analyze the cost impact. Assess the merits and evaluate the cost impact of claims. Now, let us talk about the advantages of management contracting procurement route. There is a potential time saving for overall project duration. This is due to the overlapping of activities from design, tendering, and construction. Next is the expertise of works contractors and management contractor can be utilized in design and project planning. Changes in the design can easily be accommodated, provided that the packages affected have not been awarded yet, and there is little or no impact on those already awarded. Prices for the works are competitive and are current at the time the work is let. So these are the advantages of management contracting. Let us now see what are the disadvantages of management contracting procurement route. First, the client must provide a good quality brief to the design team. Next is that the design will not be completed until the client has committed significant resources to the project. And there is a poor certainty of price offered at the early stage of the project, and the potential cost commitment depends upon the design team's estimate. The route relies on good quality and committed management contractor, or it may become no more than a post-back system in certain circumstances. The design team must be controlled and kept on program. This is to ensure that the delivery of design information is as per the program, and therefore it will avoid delay. The route reduces the resistance to works contractor's claim where such demands are passed to the client by the management contractor. This is the reason why that a quantity surveyor must have the ability to assess the merits of claim as well as assess the cost impact if necessary. Design must be closely managed to ensure that package procurement is kept on program. And the absence of completed interrelated forms of appointment in the management contract will leave the employer open to claim, or the contractor at risk, where design liability has not been resolved through the design subcontractors. There may be gaps in works contractor packages that would normally be picked up by a traditional contractor. So these are the disadvantages of management contracting procurement route. Let us now take a look at the organizational structure of this procurement route. The client will hire the architect, structural designer, and other design professionals as part of the design team. The client will also hire the quantity surveyor. All of these professionals are under a fee contract with the client. The client will also hire the management contractor under a fee contract, and the management contractor will be responsible for hiring the works contractors and suppliers, usually under a lump sum contract, because this will be easier for the client to reimburse and to have a better cost certainty. The architect will have a limited agency powers over the management contractor. Now, these are the organizational structure of management contracting procurement route, and this will conclude our discussion with regards to procurement strategy. Join me next on Silver Screen as we start our discussion with tendering. Please support this channel by dropping a like on the video, sharing the video to your friends, especially those who are preparing for their APC. And if you haven't done yet, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you for watching and see you next episode.